Today, I am tasked to discuss the advanced concept of bank reconciliation. We have 5 objectives for today. First is you will be able to do the proper importation. Second, you will be able to use bank reconciliation tools such as bank rules, cash coding, and mark as reconciled. The third one, you will be able to do the bank reconciliation process in Xero. The fourth one, you will be able to identify common mistakes in bank reconciliation. And lastly, you will be able to learn the tips or tricks that you can use during the bank reconciliation. So these are the objectives, the 5 objectives in today's topic. But before anything else, let's define first what is bank reconciliation. Bank reconciliation is the process of matching the balances in an entity's accounting records for a cash account to the corresponding information in a bank statement. The goal of this process is to ascertain the differences between the two and to book changes to the accounting records as appropriate. Meaning, we will be comparing, matching, and check the differences, validate those differences, and we need to assess if those differences are needed to be recorded or adjusted in our accounting records. Now, the question is, does our accounting system allows us to do the actual bank reconciliation, or do we need to do it manually outside the system? Well, the answer is not all accounting system can do or cater this requirement. But the good news is Xero accounting software allows you to do this process within the system itself. But before you can have the ability to do so, how and what is the requirement? First is you need to secure the user access, either a standard or an advisor access role. Now, once you have secured the correct access, let's take a look at how the bank account dashboard looks like. So it looks like this. So first, this is where the account transactions. This is where you will see all the book entries or the book transactions that you have entered in the bank account. Either you do spend money, receive money, fund transfers, and payment of bills and invoices. The second one is the bank statement tab. This is where you will find your imported bank statements. The third one would be the reconcile tab. This is where the actual reconciliation process takes place. And lastly, the cash coding tab. This is a special tool actually in Xero to facilitate the bank reconciliation, which I will be discussing in detail later. Now here, I need to emphasize that in the bank reconciliation process, we are going to compare and match the records under the account transactions versus the bank statement transactions here. Take note that the imported bank statements here in the bank statement tabs are independent reports and it does not affect any ledger in our accounting records. Let's discuss how we can incorporate the bank statement in Xero. So the bank statements are entered in Xero in 2 methods. Okay, we have 2 methods. The first one is bank feeds and the second one is the manual importation. Take note that the second option or the second method will only be available if the first option is not available. So that's always the recommendation. So if bank feeds is not available, we have the second option, the bank statement manual importation. Okay, so let's check how we can incorporate the bank statement using the bank feeds. So under accounting, you go to the chart of accounts. Then under the chart of accounts, you create here, add bank account. So if you are in the Philippines, you can try check or search for Bank of Philippines here. So here, so Bank of Philippine Islands Express Link. So actually, based on our experience and our clients, existing clients, they have tried the bank feeds for BPI, but unfortunately, it's no longer functioning at the moment because Xero has updated the connection and it's in the process of fixing that. So let's go to Banco de Oro. So here, Banco de Oro in the Philippines, we have no first-hand experience of connecting Banco Banco de Oro, but you can try to do the connection from your side. And if it's not available, as what I've said, there's no issue and you don't have to worry because we have the second option, which is the bank importation. Now, if you are in UAE, we have available bank like Rock Bank. We have ADCB here. We have ADIB. We have as well Mashreq, Emirates and BD, I think there is. So that's it. For Emirates and BD, only the credit card for now. So yeah, you can explore and check on that. So how you will do that, I'll make a sample for Rock Bank. You just have to click on that. So see, connect Rock Bank business to Xero. It's connecting right now. So here, you will be required to do your banking details technically. So you just have to enter your username and your password, then you can proceed, okay? And it will be a successful if it's correct or the details are correct, or if really the connection is well established and there is really a direct connection already, so it will hopefully be successful. So if it's not, then that's where you will consider the second option or the second method, the bank importation. So how you will do the bank importation? First, you go to your bank under here, or you can go to the bank accounts here under accounting, then bank accounts. Under manage accounts, you can click here, the import a statement. If you are opening your bank already, you can have this option here, manage account, then import a statement. So when you are importing a statement, so I have actually sample already. So we have here a sample of the bank statement. So actually I have prepared and did some work around already in my raw bank statement. So basically I have filtered. So for all the cash deposits, then the bank fees. So for this that I have purchased, I have put the payee, Alibaba, Asana, Google, LinkedIn. I think that's all. So from here, I will import using the template that Xero will provide in this format here. So you can download actually the CSV template from Xero. So you just have to click on that and then you download and then just open that. So basically, these are the fields that you need to fill in order for you to have a successful importation. So the mandatory fields are the date and the amount, and the rest are just optional information. Okay, so I will, from my sample earlier, do the date. I'll just copy it here. Next, the description. Then the amount, as you can see, in Xero, the template has only one column, while in your raw bank statement, it has a debit and credit. So you merge these two. So debits, credits. So I'll do a very quick formula here to convert the two columns to one column. And I just do a copy paste here of the values. Then what I will do, I copy first the pay as well here. Then that's it. Before doing the bank reconciliation, you need to first check the formatting of the amount. Make sure it is under number and you have separated the decimals. Then in the date, you make sure that you will have this format, the date, the month, and the year. So it should be complete. The month should be in letters, okay? 3 letters in the month. That's the ideal format in order for you to properly save and import in Xero. And then, since this is a downloaded template in Xero, once you save this, it will prompt that it is a CSV format. So if ever you are converting or you are mapping a fresh Excel, you just have to convert the fresh Excel into a CSV format here. Then just have to save that and that's it. So you are ready now to import the bank statement. I'll just have to import that. So that's it. So I have previously imported. That's why it automatically imported. For example, there's a scenario that you want to delete the entire statement. You can actually do that. I will show you now on how you will be deleting an entire statement if ever you missed or you incorrectly imported the statement. So yeah. So I will go back to my template and I will check here because I'm trying to show you import a statement here. That's it. If you are a first timer in importing the bank statement, it usually will pop up like this. Okay, you will be navigated to this option where you will be mapping if the date is correct, the amount is correct, the payee, the description. So you can actually select the proper mapping, okay, where you will be assigning the columns to the statement line in the bank statement. Okay, once you click save, it will prompt 105 line items and 0 duplicates. I will check my template and I'll count my items. Yeah, I have 105 line items. So it has been successfully imported in Xero. So that's it. That is how you will do the manual bank importation. Okay. So now, once the bank statements are already imported in the system, we can now proceed in the actual bank reconciliation process. So the first one in our bank reconciliation is to do this. First, you reconcile using the cash coding and bank rules. The second one is reconcile obvious or possible suggested book entry. The third one, reconcile through find and match. And lastly, run the bank reconciliation. So this is actually the suggested process, but the first one and the second one, obviously, it is most of the time interchangeable and it depends on the discretion of the accountant, whichever he or she prefers. Either he would reconcile the obvious transactions or he or she will do the cash coding in bank rules. Now, the step one, cash coding and the bank rules, I will be actually explaining or showing you later on how you will be doing that. So these are actually a bank reconciliation tool. So bank reconciliation tools in Xero, we have 3. Bank rules, cash coding, and mark as reconciled. So we use these tools or features in Xero to reconcile the identified differences between our accounting records and the bank statement. So as we have defined what is a bank reconciliation, it is basically a process of matching. So once we have identified the differences, these tools in Xero that are available can be used in making our life easier, convenient. So the effect of bank rules and cash coding is to reconcile the identified differences found in the bank statement that are not yet recorded in our books. So there's an entry, bank to book entry, okay? Then the third one, mark as reconciled, this is the opposite. You will be creating a bank statement line out of the book entry that you have entered in Xero. So this third option actually is not really recommended when you are importing bank statement in reconciling the bank account because it will create another line in the bank statement. Again, it is not recommended if you are doing the process of bank statement importation. Okay, so if you are doing that and you are using this mark as tool, there's a possibility of double entry. Because as what I've said, the result or the effect of mark as reconciled, it will create another line. So there's a bank importation and then you create another line. So it's a double entry already. And if you have reconciled the bank importation line and then there is mark as reconciled as well, so there is a risk of possible double entry. So it is recommended actually if you are not using the bank importation approach, okay? And it is usually happening when you are reconciling, for example, petty cash. If you're accountant or you have a junior accountant who is doing the daily entry, so he or she is entering the petty cash on a daily basis, then you are the senior accountant and you are checking his books or records, you will just have to ask for her summary or the receipts that she has. Then you just have to check the records in Xero and select the items that are valid, and you are going to reconcile those items using this third tool. So that's it. These are the bank reconciliation tools. So let's proceed in Xero, and I will quickly demonstrate how you will create the bank rules and do the hash coding, and later the mark as reconciled. So I will show you first the bank rules. So under manage account, you just have to click here, bank rules, and then here. So I think I have created before, so I'll just quickly delete this. I'll redo that. So yeah, I create a bank rule. So there's a bank rule of spend money, receive money, or transfer money. It really depends on you. So in this bank ruling, you are going actually to detect a certain words or specific description that is found in your bank statement that Xero will automatically detect. And from that information, you will map or have a certain ruling on how to account those specific items. So for example, in our bank statement sample earlier, so I have these transactions. These are subscriptions, technically. These are subscriptions, and I have identified the payee for this, and I have imported in Xero already. So I don't want on a monthly basis doing a manual entry of a bill or a spend money in Xero for these items because it's recurring. So for example, these are recurring subscriptions on a monthly basis. And I want Xero to detect and automatically have auto-generated transactions, or like Xero will suggest a specific entry. So I will show you now how to do that. So you have an option, either all or any. The difference, all, meaning all the conditions should be met before Xero will detect those items. If any, meaning either of the following, if they are present in the bank statement, Xero will detect that immediately and do the rules that you will put later. So for example, here in our sample, I will do detect this description here. Then, yeah, I'll do any text field so that Xero will detect either a description, amount, as long as there is these words. You can also have equals, so you have to be specific. It should be fixed like this, or starts with, or is blank, or it contains with. Yeah, so I'll choose it contains with asana.com. So it will prompt that those items need to be put there. Okay, then Google, then another line item for, I think, alibaba.com. Yeah, then the last one would be LinkedIn. Yep, yes, okay. Then I will have an option, either new contact, I will put subscription here, just general, or I want a specific payee from the bank. That's why when I imported earlier, I make sure there is a payee. So just in case if I have a bank ruling, I can set the contact from the payee in the bank statement. So basically that's it. Then you can have this allocate a fixed amount. So for example, if you are expending something and you are allocating, so for example, there's a fixed rate of 3,000 for specific account, then I want to allocate the variable amount to other specific account. So that's how you will do it here. But if it's not applicable, you can proceed in number 4, automatically allocate these entire transactions or the transactions that are being detected. So here, I will put subscription, then select the account subscription, the tax rate, either no VAT, VAT on expense. So it depends on your, of course, tax ruling in your specific country. Then see here also, Xero has an available option for tracking categories. For example, you have a cost management or cost tracking or revenue tracking. So you can actually use a tracking category in Xero that would cater this requirement. So in my case, I have incorporated the tracking for branch 1 and branch 2. So maybe, for example, this is a subscription and I want this subscription to be equally distributed to branches. So I'll just have to do this, 485, then branch 2, and allocate a certain percentage for this one. I want it equally, so 50-50. So that's it. Then the reference would be, from reference. The bank rule, I can apply that to all banks, and I will name this bank ruling as subscription. So that's it. That's how you will do the bank ruling. Now let's go back to the bank account under here. So in the bank account, I will open and go to the reconcile. So as I've said earlier, under reconcile tab, this is where the magic will happen, no? Of reconciling the bank statement and the book entry. So basically, let's check. So this is what I'm saying as well earlier, that in the bank reconciliation process, these two, the first one cash coding and in the second one reconciling the obvious, this is interchangeable. So for example, you have lots of items or transactions in your bank statement and you are matching. So see here, it will flood, no, the transactions or the reconcile tabs, and it would be best if you do the cash coding first or the bank ruling first. So here it has detected. So see, more details, Google. So it has detected. I'll check view details, how it will look like. So see, it has allocated 50-50 for branch 1 and branch 2. So that's it. That's how Xero will detect the bank statement description based on the bank ruling that you have applied. I can easily actually click this, okay, because this is the correct entry that Xero has suggested, or I can actually do that under the cash coding. So in the cash coding, what is this process? So basically, cash coding is a process of reconciling recurring or the same transaction. So if you have certain items, so for example, bank fees, these are recurring items and it has lots of similar transactions. So if you will be reconciling multiple items that are in similar of nature of transaction, you can use the cash coding. So for example, bank fees. So I can easily select all the bank fees, and then I will put here the account bank fees, and Xero will immediately flood or populate the account based on the selected transactions here. Then the tax rate as well, if you want that, or the no VAT, you can do that immediately. Then the bank fees. So here you have the trick. So either you use again the method that I have suggested, the bank ruling, if you want to do the splitting, or if I want that this bank fees should be allocated or recognized under one branch only, then I can quickly do the cash coding. Okay, so basically it depends on the manner of how the accountant would like to report these items. So that's it. You just have to save and reconcile, and Xero will tell you 27 were saved and reconciled successfully. So see, it will make your life easier. You can reconcile your bank statement with few clicks actually. So here, as you can see here, these items, these are the transactions that I have created using the bank rule. So Xero has detected, and it has like this multiple line items because I have created a ruling that it should be 50-50% or allocated 50-50 for branch 1 and branch 2. Okay, then I'll just have to click on those items in order for me to reconcile those items. So as what I've said, you can use cash coding after you do the bank ruling. So instead of reconciling individually in the reconcile tab, you can proceed in the cash coding, define all the detected bank rules, then do the immediate reconciliation. So for these items, these are actually for credit card remittances from my bank. So I'll just have to quickly do this. So There you go. Then this is for branch 1. For example, I'm just showing you here how you will do the cash coding. Then after that, see here, there's also a switch fee, which is also a bank fee. I can quickly do that again, and that's it. That's how you will be reconciling these transactions. Then I'll go back to reconcile, and here, this is where the reconciliation, the second process, which is reconcile obvious or possible suggested book entry. So basically, Xero is suggesting based on my entries previously. Yeah, it's, I think, later. I will show you how you will reconcile this. So in here, for example, it's a partial payment. So I just quickly show you how I did this. So I'll just remove and redo this for a while. So basically, this is check 944. And I have prepared as well a check tracker as part of our demonstration. So 944, is it correct? 944. So 944 is for vendor 3 here. So in the vendor 3, I will quickly do that. So I have removed actually the bill earlier. So I'll quickly redo that entry. So basically, that's a partial payment for this. So in case it's a partial payment, you got to make sure that you are either entering the payment manually here in the bill, pay the partial payment, or you can do actually the split method here. So I'll just do the split method again. Click here and then click split. And then I'll just have to allocate the portion of the paid amount. Okay, then I'll just have to reconcile those items. Then these are obvious already, 945, 948. Okay, cash deposit, all the cash deposit here. 935, cash deposit, July 10, yep, July 11, July 12. Here, there's no transactions here, cash deposit. Please bear with me. I'll just have to reconcile the obvious transactions. So cash deposit, 960. So that's it. That's how you will be reconciling those obvious transactions. If you are entering, of course, no, if you are in control of your bank transactions, so basically all the cash deposits, all the check payments, if you are entering it on a daily basis or on a timely basis, you will have this scenario. Once you have imported the bank statement, Xero will just have to suggest those specific transactions as a good match. And you just have to confirm. Of course, our judgment will be used in doing the bank reconciliation. So that's it. That's how you will reconcile the transaction. So these items, these are fund transfers. Either if you have a prior information to this or you already know the nature of the transaction, you can immediately reconcile, do the specific entry under create here, create, and do the specific transactions here. So, or otherwise, you can investigate later of what are those specific transactions. Okay, then the last process, which is the run the bank reconciliation report, you just have to quickly click under manage account, then reconciliation report. Under reconciliation report, I'll just quickly do the cutoff until July 31st. And then these are the transactions. As I've said earlier, if you know the nature of the transaction, you can immediately reconcile the unreconciled bank statement lines and then confirm what are these book entries that are still pending in your bank reconciliation. So I will check 968 and 969, and the payment has been recorded in Xero. So I will use my check tracker to confirm if it's really an outstanding check. So I need to check or have a test of cutoff here. So if it's an outstanding checks or not. So basically 968 and 969, it has been released. So yes, these are actually outstanding payments. So in our bank reconciliation, so as you can see, this is a bank reconciliation report where you will see a book to bank approach. So from the book, you will be adding the outstanding payments, deducting the deposit in transits, and you will derive to the bank statement line. So any unreconciled statement in the bank, it will appear here, and you will do the necessary reconciliation in order for this. So ideally, if book balance will match the bank balance, that's the ideal process. But in the scenario where it will not match, so basically this amount will appear in your balance sheet and this amount will appear in your bank statement. So the only scenarios that these are not matching, what we call bank reconciling items. Those items are valid, like outstanding checks, deposit in transits. So, and the rest of the items. But since we have reconciled, for example, the bank statement earlier, we have reconciled and identified the unrecorded items. So basically, it's a book to bank approach only. Okay, only the deposit in transit and the outstanding checks are present, supposedly present in this report. So that's it. That's how you will do the whole cycle of the bank reconciliation process. Okay. And then another tip, you can actually do a combination of the 4 steps. So either, as I've said earlier, you can combine bank rules and cash coding. So you can create bank rulings first, then proceed to cash coding. Then after reconciling the obvious match, you can do the find and match. So I think I have missed this. So I'll quickly demonstrate that here. So reconcile these items. So under find and match, you will actually click this one, find and match, and do a checking on the available transaction that would match this transaction. So if you feel that these items would reconcile these transactions, then you proceed in reconciling these transactions. Then another option, tabs that are available in the reconciliation. So in create, you will be creating a spend money, receive money, or transfer money here. You transfer money to bank. And then if you want to have special notes for these items, you can actually create and put some notes during the bank reconciliation. So we'll check, okay, and I will save that one. So you will know that you have seen this and you will be checking these items. Okay, that's how you will do the entire process of bank reconciliation. Next, let's discuss now the common mistakes that while doing the bank reconciliation. The first one would be the bank statement importation mapping. So I've said earlier, when I showed you earlier, I demonstrated that the formatting of the number, a date, the month, and the year. So you have to make sure that it has a format of like this. Then the amount should be formatted as well as a number and with the decimal separator. Then aside from that, for example, you have imported already and it's still not detecting, your CSV is not being detected by Xero, what I would suggest is you download again a template in Xero and redo the entire process. Okay? Next is importing to incorrect bank account. So it happens if, for example, you are not being careful that you have imported the AED or the Arab Emirates Dirham currency. You have imported instead a USD bank statement. So it's a big mistake. And if you are not being careful, you will create a big mess out of it. Okay. Then the next one is incorrect currency in creating the bank account. So this is also a common mistake. So one of my clients created a AED or a Philippine currency bank account where it, in fact, it should be a US dollar. account. So how you would rectify that or correct that mistake, you cannot actually edit. It's not a simple editing. You need to delete the entire account and you have to create a new one with the correct currency. Okay. Then next, creating a single book spend money entry for bank charges posted as multiple line items in the bank statement. So here, for example, if a typical or the old school accountant doing the bank reconciliation manually, they are used to, summing up all the bank charges for the month and creating one entry. We accountants would want a shortcut process as much as possible in our process. But in this case, we cannot do that shortcut, okay? So you need to create an entry every single line item in the bank. Meaning you got to make sure that all your entries will match to a specific line item in the bank statement. That's why instead of creating a single spend money, you do the one I've showed you, the bank ruling and the cash coding approach. So it is much better and you will have a good approach and good reconciliation result for that. Okay, next one would be paying a single entry, invoices or bills with multiple payments. A single entry, so meaning, for example, an invoice, you are paying 10,000 in a multiple entry, and you are paying it one time, 20,000. Actually, Xero will not detect that because I've said earlier, Xero, the approach of Xero is you reconcile per statement line. So you have to create an entry that would match the bank statement line. So instead of doing a single payment for multiple payments, you can use the split method that I have demonstrated earlier, that you can search for the invoice, then do the splitting. Okay, then making shortcuts using reconciliation tools marked as reconciled. For example, here, I will go to account transactions and then reconcile this unreconciled book entry. So see here, these are unreconciled. So how you would enable the mark as reconciled, actually you need to go to the bank first, and then under this option, this question mark icon, you will see the enable mark as reconciled. So that's how you will do that. Then Xero will refresh and you will have this option already. So for example here, I want this as marked as reconciled. So I will show you how it would look like and what is the effect. Okay. So when I run the bank reconciliation summary, it will look like this. This will not appear anymore. But unfortunately, my bank statement will not be matching with my bank statement. Remember, I have a running balance here. My bank statement has this balance. I will check. The bank statement is 796. So I will check. Okay, I think I haven't entered the beginning balance. So I'll create an entry for the beginning balance. So I'll just quickly refresh this and let's check what I have done earlier. I will redo this. So I'll unmark this as reconciled. So I'll just quickly show you the difference, okay? So I have corrected. So it's 796. I'll check if the sample we have 796,968. Yeah, it is correct. So if ever I will reconcile these two items, mark as reconciled, it will create a bank statement line here. So as you can see here, it will create a bank statement line here. And the effect would be, I will quickly show you here the bank reconciliation. It has now 790,283, which is not matching in our record. So you will have a problem, okay? You will have a problem that the statement balance is not matching in our records. So that's a problem. Okay, so you have to, as I've said, it's a very common mistake. You don't do that. Okay, so what I will do, I will find those items and I will remove my entry. Okay. And refresh this again, this bank reconciliation report. And that's it, 796. It's now correct. Okay. So that's why I mentioned that this is very tricky for double entry. Okay. Next one would be tips or tricks in zeros. First is check the proper CSV format mapping prior to bank importation. So I've said earlier, when you import, you need to make sure that it is a comma delimited here. Okay, so that's the ideal and the correct format. Then aside from that, your tips for today is to check the imported bank statement balance equals the balance in the actual bank statement. So you need to make sure that after you do the importation, you need to make sure that the bank statement balance here matches your bank statement raw running balance. Okay, so you need to make sure that this amount matches this amount. Okay, if it doesn't match, then that's a problem. You need to check the bank reconciliation report. You go to the ledger and investigate where the error or the problem is coming from. So that's how tedious it would be. Okay, then the third one, delete the double line items imported or delete the entire bank statement imported. I think I have demonstrated this earlier. So when you are importing a bank statement, you have an option to either delete a specific item that you want to delete. So if I want to delete this one, I can do that. Okay. You can also restore, don't worry. If you have mistakenly delete an item, you can restore that. So in case you want to delete the entire statement, you just go to this option. So bank statement lines, then convert it to statements. Then you go to the statement line that you have, the second one here, from start July 1 to July. So you go to the bottom part of it and you can see the delete entire statement. Okay. Then you don't have to worry actually if there are reconciled items or reconciled transactions. So basically what Xero will do, it will prompt and ask if the book entries will not be deleted or also be deleted once you delete the bank statement. But right now in the current update, you are no longer have that option. But if you delete this, you will not lose the information, or the book entries you have entered earlier will not be lost. Okay, so I think I have tried it. So if you want me to try, I can do that. That's it. So see, it's here. Okay, then you go back here and all the end transactions that you have imported earlier are still present and it hasn't been deleted. Okay, so that's how convenient the process of deletion of bank statement. Okay, next, reconcile partial payment during the bank reconciliation using the split method. I think I have demonstrated this earlier. You just have to find the invoice or the bill, then you click the split option. Then maintain a check tracker or check register. So I have showed you my check tracker. This is a simple check tracker number, the pay, the amount. You can actually add additional columns if what are the information needed. No? If later you want other information, you can be artistic in this check tracker. Then aside from that, import bank statement as reconciled transactions. I think this is the last one, the last tip for today. I will actually import a bank statement that you no longer reconcile. It is already reconciled immediately. So I'll just show you an example of a petty cash summary. So I have already prepared the information that you will need. You will need actually the account code. So basically, you just have to go to Xero and identify the transactions in your petty cash summary. then you just have to put the account. So basically, my tips would be in your petty cash transactions, you have to make a category. Then once you have a category, you will now have a, like for example, this one, you will have a option of which account you will categorize those items. And that's it. You have the account code. Then the tax type. So it depends in your tax ruling in your country. So you apply the tax rate that is applicable. And then aside from that, yeah, the amount. So this is a positive. So I convert that into negative so that, you know, the importation process. So a positive is a receive amount and a negative is a spend amount in the bank importation. So that's it. So once I have this information already, I think I will check my petty cash account here. I think I have done okay. I'll delete this for a while. Okay, so I have deleted my sample transactions. I will demonstrate on how I will be importing that. So I will import, I will download the template here. I'll download the template. Then from here, I will copy paste all the transactions that I have here in the petty cash samples. So the date, I will quickly do that. Then the amount here. Okay. Then the payee here. And the description. Okay, the reference, I will replace this to account code and tax type. Okay. And then from here, I will quickly copy and paste the account code and the tax type. Okay, so that's it. I think, yep. And then I'll just save that one. And then I'll go back here in the bank importation. I'll do this one and import. So it will take some time. You need to wait. Okay, account code, then tax type, description, date, amount. I'll just have to quickly check if the negative values are detected. Okay, I think that's it. And I just have to save that. So I have 239 line items to reconcile. And in this process, you will be reconciling immediately these 239 items. So it will take some time, guys, okay? And you got to make sure that you will not do anything in Xero. You will not navigate to any other options like go to invoice because it will interrupt the importation, okay? So see here, 239 line items were imported, 0 were duplicates, and 237 were imported directly as reconciled transactions, leaving 2 to reconcile. So basically, in my importation or summary, I have obviously did not put an account and a tax type to the petty cash replenishment because it's a bank-to-bank transaction. So here, I just need to do a transfer and do a transfer, and that's it. My petty cash is now reconciled in my petty cash summary. Okay, I have 6,836. Yeah, so it's already reconciled. So that's it. That's the last part of our discussion for today's topic, this advanced concept of bank reconciliation. And hopefully you've learned a lot.